Alright, you're welcome. In this video, we're going to be adding some additional text to the web page, our already existing web page that we've been working on. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to add one more sidebar right below this original sidebar, and then we'll add another content right below this original content. Okay, so let's get to it. We're going to be working with the same tests, the same bunch of tests that we've been working with throughout this entire series. So we just copy it and come to our HTML document. We're not going to be doing much of CSS. That's the beauty of CSS. Once you've gotten your CSS property and your CSS rule correctly, all you need to do is to just keep adding content in your HTML, because the class attribute is reusable and you can keep using it in whichever content you continue to add. This particular content we're adding, will be adding it outside of the div section of this first content, which is our main class. Okay, and that is because we want it to look like a different subject. If we want it to continue here, we'll simply put it inside this div section. Okay, so we're going to put it right below. Remember, HTML is displayed in a top-down order, and we want our next content to be displayed below this initial content, so we're going to put it right below our initial content. So we'll simply paste it there. I've copied the text. This is our heading, so we'll make this our h1. Okay, hope you follow, and we'll close our h1 here. Okay, let's create a little bit of room here so that our work will look nice and neat. And up here we'll create our class, our div. Okay, so we are putting our content inside our div container, and we're still going to use the same div class name, and we're still going to call it main. Okay, so that it will take up the CSS property here that we've created for main and display it exactly the way the first content is displayed. Okay, so we'll come down here and close our div. Okay, and we'll put the content, the main content itself, inside a paragraph, and we'll come down here and close our paragraph. Okay, so that is pretty much it. Okay, we don't need the space. Okay, so that's pretty much all we need for our content. So we'll just save this and hit refresh, and you see that our new content just naturally takes the styling that we have been using on the website, because we retain the class name, in our div section main. So it will take all of the CSS rule in our main section. Okay, so next thing now we're going to be doing is to add an additional sidebar. All we need to do is to just reuse this already existing sidebar, so we're just going to copy and paste it. Okay, and we also use the class attribute, so we can reuse the CSS properties. So we'll just copy this and come down here, create a bit of room, and paste. Okay, so now we have our second div, our second sidebar, and it's using the same class attributes, class name side right, so it will be below the first sidebar. So we put it right under it, and it's correct to put it right under the first, because HTML pens in a top down order, and it should still remain just above our main contents. Okay, so what we're going to do now is to differentiate between the two. We'll simply put latest article 2 here, and we're going to save this up, and we'll go to our browser and hit refresh. This is when things get a little bit tricky when you're adding additional sidebars. HTML automatically paste your sidebar inside of your main content, okay, because it is treating this as an inline element, and it will continue to stack them side by side if you add more sidebars. And that is actually a good way to stack mini content side by side with each other if you want to do that. But what we are looking at here is taking this sidebar and putting it below this initial sidebar. So what we have to do now is to go to our CSS and add an additional CSS property, and it is the clear property. Is a property that you're already familiar with. Remember, in one of our initial videos when we talked about the clear property as used for moving objects in your web page, or moving elements in your web page to either left or right or top or bottom, depending on where you want that particular property to be cleared. So we're going to use the clear property, and the value for our clear property is simply right. Okay, so we're clearing this for all of our sidebars to the right. Okay, so use the clear property and the value is right, so we're just going to save it. That's pretty much all we'll do for our CSS. You see, the beauty of CSS is its reusability. So once you get your CSS rules correctly, you can just continue to use it over and over again for all additional or new content that you add to your web page. Okay, so we're going to we've saved this. We're just going to hit refresh, and watch, this would then move right below here. So we will hit refresh, and as you can see, it moves. It has been cleared from top here to the right, and it clears it and it positions it perfectly. You have your 10 pixels up here, 10 pixels to the right and 10 pixels to the left, and it's perfectly placed. And that is how you add your additional content, which is here, and your additional sidebars. So in the next video, we're going to be adding another sidebar, but in this case we're going to put a picture inside our sidebar. Okay, that ought to do it for this video. We'll see you in our next class. Thank you for watching.